Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi, wa ba'd. After praising Allah, asking Him to raise the rank of His Prophet Muhammad and grant him peace, we begin once again by Allah's grace and permission with some more explanation about fitna and some more details about how the stance of the Muslim should be as it relates to fitna. And our guidance this week, insha'Allah ta'ala, will come from the words of one of the best of today's scholars. Again, I believe we have learned from his words previously, and we will return to him again, as is the way of the Salafis, to honor their elder scholars and their greatest and most senior scholars, and to return to their words often for guidance. Not to blindly follow them in everything they say without evidence, but to return to them in the affairs that they need clarity on in their religion. So we return again to the great Sheikh Abdul Aziz ibn Abdullah ibn Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala, and he gave a lecture once called Mawqif al-Mu'min min al-Fitan, the stance of the believer on fitan, on trials and tribulations. And that's in line with our series of lectures here. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to bless our study of these words of our great scholar, Sheikh Abdul Aziz ibn Baz, and to allow us to take them to heart and to increase our closeness to Allah Ta'ala through them, and our distance from the things that harm us in this life and in the hereafter. Innahu Jawadun Kareem. Allah Ta'ala is all generous and giving. Mal fitna. What is fitna? The definition of fitna. Al-fitnatu kalimatun mushtarika taqa'u ala ma'anin kathira. Shaykh ibn Baz says fitna is a word that is shared by many different meanings. تقع على الشرك. It is applied sometimes, or it is used to mean shirk sometimes. وهو أعظم الفتن, which is the greatest of all trials. كما قال الله تعالى, as Allah the Most High has said, وقاتلوهم حتى لا تكون فتنة ويكون الدين كله لله. And fight them, meaning in established military battles with the Muslim government. Fight against the opposing forces until there remains no fitna. And the Shaykh says, أي حتى لا يكون شرك, until there remains no shirk. So the meaning of fitna in this verse is shirk. And that's from Surah Al-Anfal, the 39th verse. وقال جل وعلا, and Allah, the Mighty and Most High, has said, طيب, so you know I'm recording, inshallah. Allah the Mighty and Most High has said, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الشَّهْرِ الْحَرَامِ قِتَالٍ فِيهِ. They ask you, O Muhammad, about the months, or the month that is a sanctuary, the sacred month, about fighting in that month. قُلْ قِتَالٌ فِيهِ كَبِيرٌ وَصَدٌّ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وكفر به والمسجد الحرام وإخراج أهله منه أكبر عند الله والفتنة أكبر من القتل. Fighting in that sacred month is a major sin. صد عن سبيل الله, preventing people from the path of Allah and disbelieving in Him, and preventing people from going to the Masjid al-Haram, and expelling its residents. Akbar in Allah. That's even worse with Allah. وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَكْبَرُ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. And fitna is even worse than al-qatl. It's worse than killing. وَتَقَعُ الْفِتْنَةِ. What's the meaning of fitna there in that verse? It is shirk. The worship of other than Allah Ta'ala is more of a crime and more heinous than murder, killing, fighting, that in military fighting that includes killing. That's from Surah Al-Baqarah, verse number 217. You don't have a screen to look at, do you? Well, okay. Jayyid. So they're just hearing me. وتقع الفتنة أيضا على التعذيب والتحريق. And fitna is something that refers to punishment through burning people as a punishment. كما قال جل وعلا, as Allah the Mighty and Most High had said, ذوقوا فتنتكم هذا الذي كنتم به تستعجلون. Taste this fitna of yours, meaning the burning. هذا الذي كنتم به تستعجلون. This is what you were hastily asking for. Meaning, the people, the mushrikeen, used to ask the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the sa'ah. They used to ask about the establishment of the hereafter. Meaning, su'al inad, su'al istikbar. A question that is like saying it's not going to happen. When is it? When is this going to happen? Meaning, it's not going to happen and we don't believe it. And this was Allah Ta'ala's, one of his responses to their questioning, was that it will be said to them in the hereafter, taste this fitna of yours, the burning punishment, that which you used to hastily ask for. وَقَالَ جَلَّ وَعَلَى, and Allah the Mighty and Most High said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ فَتَنُوا الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَتُوبُوا فَلَهُمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمْ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابُ الْحَرِيقِ. Verily, those people who burned the believers, men and women, they burned them, they put them to fitna, and they burned them in ditches. Then they don't make tawbah after that, then they have the punishment of the hellfire, the Jahannam. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابُ الْحَرِيقِ, and they have a burning, blazing punishment, a punishment of blazing fire. الْجَزَاءُ مِنْ جِنْسِ الْعَمَلِ. Right? The recompense for something is of the very same nature of what the person did. Tayyib, the point there and the point of reference is the word fitna is used for burning as a punishment. If you're interested, burning as a punishment is not allowed by for the Muslim rulers or for the Muslim court system. No one can ever be punished with fire, since the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, لا يعذب بالنار إلا رب النار. No one punishes with fire other than the Lord of the fire, meaning Allah Ta'ala alone. These two verses, the last two verses that were mentioned, are found in Surah Al-Dhariyat, verse number 14, and Surah Al-Buruj, number 10, verse number 10. طيب, والمراد هنا العذاب والتحريق فتنوهم يعني عذبوهم. The meaning here is the punishment of burning, the punishment of torturing them through burning them. They burned them and punished them. وتطلق الفتنة أيضا على الاختبار والامتحان. Fitna is also a word used to describe testing or tests and trials. كما قال جل وعلا ونبلوكم بالشر والخير فتنة. ونبلوكم بالشر والخير فتنة. And we put you to test, we test you with evil and with good as a fitna. يعني اختبارا وامتحانا, as a test for you. That's from Surah Al-Anbiya, the 35th verse. And notice how Allah Ta'ala has mentioned that He puts us to trial with shar and khair. It's not just your personal trials, your divorce, your loss in business this week, your broken relationship, your losses that are the trials of this life. Rather, the bigger trials that go undetected with people are the khair, that Allah has increased you in wealth. And that's a trial from Allah. Why is it a trial from Allah Ta'ala and people don't take heed? Because now Allah has increased you in wealth and you feel that you have everything you need, the bills are taken care of for the next few months, alhamdulillah, then you stop asking Allah. You stop having tawakkul on Allah. You think about how much money you have. You think about the security that you have. And you don't depend upon Allah like you used to when you were poor, when you didn't have anything. Khair also is something that causes people to neglect their duties. How often does a person stop acts of worship that he used to do once he attains some riches and some profit? Look at how, think about the hisab. On the day of judgment, you're going to stand in front of Allah and be questioned about every dollar, every riyal, every unit of money that you had in your hands. You will stand and your feet won't move on the day of judgment until you're asked about every single dollar, every penny that came through your hands, where you got it from, where you spent it. Khair. Youth is a ni'mah, youth is a blessing, good health, free time, all of these things are khair. But your feet won't move Yawm al-Qiyamah until you're asked about all of that. People who have good health, people who have free time, people who have all these blessings, they have to come to account for all of them. May Allah Ta'ala help us. What bala is more difficult? The bala of a poor person who faces ayyam as-sabr, he faces days of difficulty and patience, and he's dependent on Allah, he turns to Allah, crying to Allah, asking Allah. The reality of the hereafter, he's okay. He might feel he's missing something, but he's okay with his relationship with Allah Ta'ala. Then the other guy has wealth. Once he has wealth, takes care of his basic obligations, he starts wasting it. Starts throwing money away, starts buying unnecessary things, starts spending money on haram things, on entertainment, on movies, on music, on things that harm him and don't help him. And he has to come back to Allah and be accountable for all of that. Where you got that money, where you spent it, your shabab, your youth, your good health, what you did with it. You got to go back to Allah and be accountable for all of that. Which one is bigger of a fitna? Now you know why, or no, you know one of the hikam, one of the reasons why the poor people enter paradise before the rich by 500 years. They have a lot less to be accountable for. They have a lot less questions to answer. May Allah Ta'ala lighten our hisab. May Allah Ta'ala forgive us and excuse us. وقال جل وعلا, back to the words of our Shaykh, وقال جل وعلا, Allah the Mighty and Most High said, إنما أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة. Verily, your wealth, your children, that's a fitna. That is a fitna. And that verse is in Surah Al-Taghabun, the 15th verse. يعني اختبارا وامتحانا. They are a test and a trial for you. حتى يتبين من يستعين بالأموال والأولاد في طاعة الله. This is a trial. And this trial goes on with us. And we show through our actions, and it becomes clear through our actions, who are the people who use these blessings of money and children in the way of obedience to Allah. وَمَنْ يَقُومُ بِحَقِّ اللَّهِ, and who takes care of the obligations they have towards Allah. وَيَتَجَنَّبُ مَحَارِمَ اللَّهِ, and who's using these things to stay away from the prohibitions of Allah. وَيَقِفُ عِنْدَ حُدُودِ اللَّهِ, and to stop at the limits that Allah has set. مِنْ مَنْ يَنْحَرِفُ عَنْ ذَلِكَ, from those who would go astray from this idea. وَيَتَّبِعُ هَوَاهُ, and follow his desires. وَتَقَعُ أَيْضًا عَلَى الْمَصَائِبِ وَالْعُقُوبَاتِ, and the word fitna is also used to talk about masa'ib, musibas, trials, or here we'll say trials of loss. calamities, والعقوبات, and punishments that you face. كما قال تعالى, as Allah has said, واتقوا فتنة لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة, يعني بل تعم. As Allah says, fear the fitnah. نعم يا أخي. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Real quick, أخي, I'm giving a class online. Otherwise, give me a call later. In about a half an hour. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. واتقوا فتنة. Allah Ta'ala tells you avoid, stay away from, be careful of. Watch out for a fitna. From Surah Al-Anfal, the 25th verse. Stay away from the fitna. لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة. Stay away from the fitna. Protect yourself from a fitna. Guard yourself. Prepare. And keep yourself out of harm's way from a fitna. لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة. It doesn't just befall those who are oppressive amongst you specifically. And then the Shaykh says, يعني بل تعم. Rather, it is going to encompass everybody. The scholars of tafsir mention that this fitna that befalls the people, and it does not specifically befall the oppressive ones only, but it comes down on everyone. It's عند فساد الناس, when all the people are corrupted. لا يأمر بعضهم بالمعروف. None of them order what is good. ولا ينهون عن منكر, and they don't forbid evil. When you abandon ordering and forbidding, when you don't stand up for the limits of Allah and stop people from speaking where they have no right to speak, and remind the people with good and order them with their obligations, if you don't do that, then you deserve to be punished by Allah Ta'ala. Whether you are the sinful one or you are the silent one who kept quiet in the face of evil, in the face of widespread sinning, and you don't speak and you don't say anything. Be afraid of this fitna. وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. The fitna that does not only single out the people who are oppressive amongst you specifically. يعني بل تعم. It goes upon everybody. Naam. When you stand up and you order what is good and you forbid what is evil, you will find enemies. You will find people who tell you that you have insulted the honor of a Muslim. Can you imagine? A person does magic and he calls to magic. For example, give you a perfect example in a man named Kamal al-Makki, one of the instructors of the Al-Maghrib Institute. He goes places and he tells people that he likes magic and there's nothing wrong with magic, and that you can take your families to a magician show like Chris Angel or Dynamo, two of the most famous magicians in the world today. No problem. It's perfectly halal. It's not haram because they're not using jinn. Allahu Akbar. Someone speaks like this, and you say, ittaqillah, fear Allah. The speaker, whoever organized for him, whoever defends him, whoever promotes him, ittaqillah, fear Allah. This is not only haram. The ulama differ over whether this kind of magic takes you outside of Islam or doesn't take you outside of Islam. When you stand up and warn against these kinds of people, you find the Muslims, some of them even claim to be from Ahl Sunnah, some of them even claim to have some respect for the Sunnah, some of them claim to be Salafis. وَأَنَّا لَهُمْ ذَلِكَ. How could they ever be Salafi? How could they ever be Salafi defending a magician, hiding a magician in their ranks, lying and covering up for bringing a magician in front of the people and asking him to perform magic tricks. وَأَنَّ لَهُمْ مَا يَدَّعُونَ. How could they ever have what they claim to be validated for them? Allah's protection is sought. When you stand up and say this is haram, this is outside of Islam, this has nothing to do with the religion of Islam, this is a man speaking against the deen of Allah, leading the Muslims away from Tawheed into shirk, the people will tell you, you have insulted a Muslim. You have insulted the honor of our brother. La ya akhi. If you're silent in the face of something like this, fearing that you don't want to transgress against the Muslim's honor, then you have lost your mind. You have lost all sense of what it means to be a Muslim. The honor of a Muslim, the honor of an individual Muslim is not given priority over distinguishing Tawheed from shirk ever. And fitna has overcome the Muslims to the point where they will call this kind of talk hate mongering, witch hunting, ghulu, excessiveness in the religion, the manhaj of butchers, and so on. وَلِيَعْذُ بِاللَّهِ. The Muslim must stand for the truth, and he must stand for what is right, and he must stand against what is wrong, especially when people are attributing to the deen of Allah things that are not from it at all. When people are twisting the teachings of Islam to include things that have nothing to do with it, to include the very opposite of the meaning of La ilaha illallah, things that negate people's shahada, such people must be stopped. Such people must be spoken about. If you care so much for the honor of a person who's promoting Chris Angel and Dynamo, then why don't you advise him to stop promoting magic and start speaking with the speech of a Muslim, so he don't have to be attacked by the people of the haqq. If you love him, you don't want his name to be mentioned, tell him to shut up and stop promoting magicians. Tell him to stop playing games with the people's religion. If you don't want his name to be mentioned, so long as someone stands up and invites people to go to magicians, telling them that magician shows are perfectly halal, then don't expect a person of the truth to be quiet. Wallahu al-musta'an. Fear a fitna. Wattaqu fitna. Guard yourselves and prepare yourselves and defend yourselves against a fitna. لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة. That will not single out the ones who are wrongdoers amongst you only. Rather, that fitna will cover everyone. When the people stop enjoining the good, when the people stop forbidding evil, and fasad spreads. And this is the time that many of us are witnessing. Sanawatun, as we talked about before, khadda'at, years and years of deceit. Honest people are rejected. Trustworthy people are viewed as being treacherous. Treacherous people. Who could be more treacherous than a person inviting people to magician shows in the name of Islam, telling them it's perfectly halal? Who could be more treacherous than that? And he's viewed as being the trustworthy one, the honest one, the one who's trying to give dawah, the one who's doing his best to serve the deen, and the one who says, no, Muslims can never have anything to do with this. This is total falsehood. He's the evil one. He's the one who wants to harm the reputation of the Muslims. He's the one we have to be warned about. Sanawatun khadda'at. Years and years of deceit. يُصَدَّقُ فِيهَا الْكَاذِبُ وَيُكَذَّبُ فِيهَا الصَّادِقُ. The honest person will be rejected. His reports won't be trusted. And the liar will be listened to. The liar will be the one that is thought to be truthful. يُؤْتَمَنُ فِيهَا الْخَائِنُ. The betrayer, he's the one that the people will trust. وَيُخَوَّنُ فِيهَا الْأَمِينُ. And the one that's trustworthy will be viewed as being treacherous. Wallahi, tell me that's not the time we're living in, on a simple stance like this. And what are we going to do as Muslims who can't seem to get our stance correct on one fool here and one fool there? One liar over here, one trickster over there. We can't seem to get our stance right. We can't seem to take the proper position on people standing up against the deen of Allah. And they have very weak proofs. Sometimes no proofs at all. Yet we fall for them. We want to defend them. We want to stop people from speaking against them. La ilaha illallah. What are we going to do as Muslims when someone of real deviance approaches us in our language with heavy proofs, with a strong argument that few people can even counter? We haven't even seen this yet. What are we going to do in the time of the al-Masih al-Dajjal, the lying Antichrist, when he will have what looks like miracles? He will claim to be Allah, and and the majority of the people on earth will be his followers. Some of us are like that, caught up in who everybody's following, who everybody respects, no matter what they say, no matter what the content of their message is. You know, he couldn't be that popular. He couldn't be that famous all over the world, and he's on falsehood. We have this kind of scale that has nothing to do with the book and the sunnah and the beliefs of the Muslims, because the Masih al-Dajjal will come and the majority of the people will be with him. Yet he's the Masih al-Dajjal. Wallahu al-Musta'an. If we can't handle ourselves in front of a few foolish people with some silly arguments, and we can't return to our scholars, and we can't listen to trustworthy students of knowledge, what are we going to do when real people of deviance step up? Nas'Allah al-Afiyah. You guys said you wanted 30 minutes, and that's 28 minutes. And I've got to get out of here and get some groceries before they close all the stores here. هذا والله أعلم. صلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. And we managed to read a paragraph of something from Sheikh Ibn Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala. And I hope that the admonitions that ensued were something that was needed, and something that proves to be helpful, something that proves to, insha'Allah ta'ala, give us some stability in the midst of a few fitan that we have faced. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And Allah knows best. Is anybody there?
Jazakallah khair. What's that?
Are there any questions or any issues that need handled?
I think Salah wanted to pass on the questions this week, but he said he'll have them ready next week, inshallah.
Next week.
Disconnected. If you could send me the recording, inshallah, I'll put it on the website, and I'll try to put up those relevant verses that you mentioned, inshallah.
Tayyib Akhi Rami, you've got to get with your brothers and be more diligent. Get your connections together and all of this. This YouTube thing is just consistently not providing the service that we need. Am I right? Or not?
The Google Hangout? Yeah, I mean...
it's just not working.
Yeah, I wish I had more time to see what the problem is with wiziq, because they said they had a problem with it. I don't know what it was. That's why I suggested this. But if you're more comfortable with that, maybe I could try to talk to them and see if this...
It would be nice to get on wiziq. I'm very familiar with it. and we can use it. You know, it's got the board and everything. It's for classroom. It's for online classes.
Yeah, I've never used it before, but the problem